All right, we're on.
What's up, everybody? It's John from Let's Talk Freedom. With me is Devar and Dre, as always. Unfortunately, we're missing two other members tonight due to some prior engagements and some life unexpectancies. But wishing them well and hoping they come back very soon. Tonight on the Chopping Block, I guess we are going to discuss masculinity.
Ooh.
Just started off as a masculine color and then somehow got obscured into being girly. But I think I look pretty. I think I look pretty.
Yeah. So I mean the masculinity it's changed, hasn't it, since we were kids? I
Yeah,
mean,
since the door, yeah.
since
Things are
what?
totally different now. Actual definitions are changing.
It's
Definitions are being added and changed.
and changed. It's
So
crazy. It's crazy. Words are being
it's a
made
very,
up.
it's a very slippery slope.
Yeah.
So before we get into the superficials and whatnot, you think masculinity might just be a mindset? It's your what is it? Is it your swagger? Is it the way you carry yourself with conviction? Is it your pardon, I'm missing the word. It's your confidence on how you handle yourself. Do those tie into masculinity or what?
I would think so. I would say all of those would tie into to masculinity plus a lot more, you know what I mean? Like especially on the fact of how you handle yourself. It- okay, so
I agree with that. Let's build off of the definition. So when you look up actual masculinity,
mhm.
it says qualities and attributes regarded as characteristics of men. That's, I guess, in its simplest form. Now they say characteristics of men. I guess they're implying that women can display some of those characteristics of men.
That would, yeah, I could see
You know,
that.
since they define it as characteristics.
Characteristics, right. That means like
Now,
anyone can have those
So
characteristics.
according to the definition,
Right.
hold on. So if 90% of all men tomorrow were to leave their house wearing, I don't know, just a dress, that would be considered masculinity because the majority is doing it. And then would you be considered non-masculine, whatever the opposite term, feminine, if you weren't wearing a dress? Like
I
because
think
your
I think they're
definition is a trait of men.
yeah, they say qualities and attributes regarded as characteristics of men, and then in the sub definition they have hands, muscled, and driven, and his prime example of masculinity. So, or he's a prime example of masculinity. That's their
Okay, use
definition.
it use it in a sentence. Okay.
So that's the sentence that they have there.
And,
But
who is that? Who is that? Webster, Wikipedia. Who is that?
this
Oxford.
is, I believe it's dictionary.com.
Okay.
It's a reliable source.
I mean, it has a .com behind it, so why not?
I know, right? Hey, you believe everything that has a .com behind it.
Real deal.
I don't know, man. I think these definitions changed over the years, and as you look at what is defined as masculinity now, it's almost a perverted, amplified version of the masculinity that I grew up around. You know what I mean? Like, growing up, some of the males around you, they didn't really necessarily have to say or do anything to display that masculinity. And as a young boy, there's like an attraction to be that.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
there's a natural like gravitation towards other males who you emulate, who
Side
you're,
story. On side story on that
yeah,
on that note, right?
yeah.
When I was a kid, growing up in Jersey, um, with my with growing up with my mom, single mom, and we had just moved to the States, and it made me think about this because it was around Thanksgiving time, and this guy, like this, I was like one of the kids that always around the neighborhood where um after school I'd be like hanging out, and we would go to like the grocery store and bag people's groceries to get change. In the fall we'd rake up people's leaves. In the winter we'd be shoveling snow and things like that. So he owned a bar. I think he owned a bar across the street from where we lived, right? And I guess like it was like an old school, it was an old dude, real older gentleman. And it just seemed like he took an interest because I guess he kind of realized that, hey, here's this kid that there's no real father figure around, but he's not out getting into the wrong trouble, so let me kind of like take him under my wing type of thing. And just saying that to say like that to me is kind of like a thing that's very masculine type of thing to do. Like I think men type of take care of the community type of thing. You know what I mean? I think that's like number one kind of role for a
Gotcha.
man. You know what I mean? And that's just kind of, I might be wrong. It wouldn't be the first time.
Won't
No,
be the
I hear
last.
you on that.
Right, and it won't be the last either, right? But um, I just feel like that's one of the things that I think like we're really missing that now. We're really missing that a lot. Like
Are
it's,
what are you saying in particular? What are we missing? Are we missing those traits, or are we missing the more of the individuals associated with that trait?
I think we're missing a trait. I
The trait
think
itself,
I think we're
the
missing
mass.
yeah, that whole, well, that part of it, that because like I said, I think there's a lot of things that go into it. That's just one piece that I'm pointing out. um I think we're really missing that particular trait, to where us as men
So
feel
but
like we
that's
have
what
an
I mean. Like, are you
obligation.
talking about specifically us as men missing that trait, or
Yeah,
society in general
society.
missing the trait? Now, I'm framing it like that for a reason,
Mhm.
because
He's
remember
trying
with
to
the
say you're calling him a girl, bro.
no, no, what I'm saying is, like, remember, the way that they described masculinity, what they're trying to imply to me is that they're saying, I don't even know how to say this correctly nowadays, but men
Disclaimer.
and women can carry that trait, is the way that they frame the definition. That's why I asked you, is the trait missing, or is the um or are the vehicles normally associated with that trait missing?
I think the trait itself is missing because
Okay.
here's okay. So because in that particular trait, um, it does take a village, right? It takes a. I mean
Hmm.
that's just the trait that I'm really talking about, is the fact that it takes a village. And I feel like no matter what, or how sexist it might sound or whatever, men are the leaders of any community.
Oh shit, they shut us down. We're gone. We gone.
you
Stream down.
know no, but we listen, we might not be the backbone, right?
Gotcha.
But we are the leaders. You
Figureheads.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So if the trade is missing, who's at fault but more than us?
I
Yeah,
understand. I
that,
understand. I follow you.
I mean, yeah, that's kind of like my thinking on that particular part of it. Of course, there's a whole bunch of other, you know, things that I think that go into masculinity. Um,
Like what? Explain. Throw them on the table.
like reproduction.
Okay.
I think that's a part of
I don't know.
masculinity. You don't think so?
Nah, man. I mean, like a dude could be a straight up tough guy and not be able to have kids or might not have kids. To me, I don't think reproduction is a factor within the masculinity. I think I think that's more along the line of virility. That's the correct term?
I don't know. I never heard that one before. Break it down for me.
Devar.
Yes, sir.
You got the dictionary in front of you, right?
Virility.
Yeah,
Let's
virility.
go. All right, I'm looking it up.
I just know I just know it's the term thrown around inside the Asian markets to where I sometimes hang out with, and they're selling deer antlers and stuff. Helps with the
Ah, to
virility.
give you virility. Ah, gotcha. Yeah, in Jamaica, we have a drink called Strongback.
Yeah.
What's that? What's that? Irish moss too, right?
Yep, yep.
Irish, yeah, yeah.
I'm in the Irish Moss business. Hey, if you guys need Irish Moss, go ahead and check us out at www.caribsensations.com and get yours today. Sorry about that. Had to plug
Nah,
that
it's
in
good.
there
Hey,
real
Perfect
quick.
timing.
You got it.
Perfect timing. Listen, guys, if you're just
But
joining
yeah,
us,
virility.
go ahead.
So the quality of having strength, energy, and a strong sex drive, manliness, aggression,
talking.
and virility were high prized in soldiers.
So maybe they correlate and go hand to hand, but I don't think as far as reproduction.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I use the word reproduction, trying to be sensitive.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Trying to be sensitive.
They
They already took the stream down, man. You might as well just say how you feel.
All right, so
No, but
no, what I'm saying, I guess what I'm saying is we have a lot of feminine males out here, and
and I don't necessarily know if that's a hugely bad thing. I think the over feminization of men can affect
What do you mean
the
over feminization? Like when it's not natural, like when it's manufactured,
yeah, more so
when there's help.
yeah. I mean, like I take a look at some of these articles I've read in the past about the over feminization of Japan, I believe it was, and how that they were worried about that Japanese people as a people would extinct themselves because they're not reproducing, they're not women aren't really finding their own Japanese men manly. So there's no drive to that as a partner. And a lot of it was contributed to the long hours that they work and the feminization and anime for some reason. But
freaking anime.
yeah. But no,
Anime.
yeah, the over feminization. I mean, like it's cool to be in touch with your feminine side. Like you should be able to look at something and be like, yo, that shit's pretty. Or
What do they mean by that? Like when someone says that, especially to a male, like what are,
And what is the feminine
because I've
side?
heard so many different, like,
okay. So for me, I am not in touch with my feminine. I've actually carterized that side off of me to a certain extent. But I know from what I was told growing up and by even other males that seem like perfectly adjusted individuals, that you shouldn't be ashamed as a man to cry. I don't cry. I can't cry. But it's okay. And I even instill that in my kids. I say it's okay for you to cry. It's okay to just appreciate beauty for what it is. You know what I'm saying? Not everything has to be tough and
So, but
rough around the edges.
so do you think that's really a feminine side, though? Honestly, like, don't you just think that's just a
so
human
isn't that just
trait?
emotions that
Yeah,
we display?
It is emotions, but it's how we convey that emotion that comes off as feminine.
but okay, so
So crying is associated with
with being
being
feminine,
feminine.
Yeah.
See,
I can't
I don't know
agree.
about that because, you know, you got soldiers that go out and battle and, you know, one of their guys gets down and those, you know, those are tears of passion and in a very masculine setting.
Have you
No,
You know
ever
what I
have you
mean?
have you ever shed tears of joy?
no.
Like
I,
you've
I, I have, I have.
like I've been
When my
so
kids were born.
happy to the point where like tears, like you're legit
Yeah.
crying and like you can't control it.
But you
I've
also have
been
to
there.
remember, like the old school, okay, so I don't know what definition of masculinity y'all came up with, but the definition of masculinity in my household coming up was you're silent, um, you handle your business, and you don't
Head on
show
a
your
swivel.
hand. Yeah, you don't show your hand to anybody, so nobody could
Got
really
you.
read you.
Now,
So by allowing
He
myself
is correct in that. He is like take out all the like we're reading definitions here, but
mhm.
like what John just said, like it was almost like it was almost like unspoken. Like it was
Now,
just
right now,
something in the atmosphere growing up, like you just
yeah.
knew.
now I think honestly, if you want to look at anything being toxic about masculinity, that would be the toxic part. Because here's the deal: we are we are the leaders of our societies. We are the leaders of our communities. We are the head of the body, not the backbone. But at the same time, we're still human, right? We still have feelings and we still go through things. And honestly, like I saw a post today, that said like men aren't supposed to feel. Men aren't supposed to men aren't supposed to it was a bunch of things that it was listing that men aren't supposed to do. And I'm just like, yo, that's ridiculous. Like I'm not no machine. I honestly I'm not a machine. Like I can
Yeah.
and
I
I
was taught you just sit up and you keep moving
and you just
forward.
keep moving forward. I don't agree with that. I agree. No, okay. So I'm gonna keep like I'm not saying that I'm not gonna get up and I'm not gonna keep on moving forward. I'm not saying that at all. Right? I feel like that's part of being a man. But I also feel
Mm.
like sometimes we need to heal. Sometimes we need to um refresh, rejuvenate.
And
How 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 do how do you go about doing that generally speaking?
It depends on your situation, who you are. Me personally, I'm in counseling.
Okay.
That's my healing. You know what I mean? I'm in counseling. And that helps me see a lot of things, a lot of reasons. But that's counseling at 40 something years old. You know,
Right.
if they would when they tried to put me in counseling when I was a teenager, I wasn't having that. I wasn't trying to hear none of that. You know what I mean? But in my older age and my realization that hey, I do have some shit that I haven't dealt with, that I just buried, that you know what I mean, that I really need to just that needs to be healed in order for me to be the best me for all the people that I need to take care of.
Why do you think that is for a lot of men? Like what you said, there's a lot of bottled up pain
Because of
and
exactly what you guys just said.
yeah, but
We're not
that's
you think
supposed
it's
to.
y-
That's the old
you,
school setting. We're not supposed to. We're not supposed to have feelings. We're supposed to just put our head down and keep on moving
but
and
do
not
you think
show
it's
yeah.
our
because of the
cards.
males? You think it's because of the males that were giving us that information coming up? And the reason why I'm asking this, what was the reason behind them doing that?
That's a good question.
Probably the
Because
depression.
sometimes you only have a short window of time to drive certain amount of information into a young mind and prepare them for the world. So
Okay.
you know sometimes it's like, okay, head on straight, just like John said, head on a swivel, make sure you do this and this, you navigate like this and you'll be all right. It's almost like you become a robot and you kind of lose that side. But on the
Well,
same note, sometimes that could be the definition of life and death. Like nowadays, a lot of these dudes out here, they don't have those kind of disciplines and they kind of reckless with the mouth, man. And it's like there's no
well,
consequences. You understand what I'm saying? There was a
Yeah.
certain level of respect that we had, back in the days. And it was like, you had, I grew up with my dad, and there was a love for my dad, but there was also a healthy fear. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Mom
Mm-hmm.
said she going
get out.
mom said she calling dad. It was different. I love both of them. You know what I mean? But that there was just that aura
You should have
there.
feared your mom more because she could hurt you without even laying a hand on you. All it took was a phone call.
It's true. It's true. It's true. But mom, like I think when they say unconditional love, they're more talking about a mother's love. Like fathers, like what I notice, and this is all generally speaking, there's always going to be exceptions to the rule, but um I never understood why my dad was so hard on me. Then I got older and it's almost like everything just made sense. Like my work ethic
Mm-hmm.
is from him, but part of me hated him growing up. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I look at it now and it's like, had he not did that, had I not been forced to do certain things, like people don't even know, like um prior to me going to high school, everyone would wonder why I'm carrying a duffel bag to school instead of a book bag. I had everything um in there, like a change of clothes and everything, because we used to go and do a paper route. And from the paper route, he used to drop me to school. You know what I mean? And it was more convenient for him to do it that way than to drive back to get me. I would have been late. You know what I mean? But I hated it
Mm-hmm.
every day doing it. But I look at it now, and the way that I work, I work until something is done. And you can't teach that nowadays. Nowadays it's like, well, I'll put it off till later, or I'll do this, or I'll do that. You know what I mean? Sometimes when you take the choice out of a child and you let them develop with certain until it becomes a habit, then they think about it later and they're like, oh, okay, I kind of see what you did there. You get what I'm
Well,
saying? Like
Yeah.
that was just I mean, like I said, there's exceptions to the rule, you
I
know?
mean, getting back real quick to the emotional side, and
Yeah.
um, you got calluses on your hand.
Who, me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Dre.
Yeah.
Nowadays don't, which I've noticed because I have to shake people's hands all the time. And they also have a very loose grip. But I think even something as insignificant as calloused hands is how I was I was raised in our generation, is that we were supposed to callous our emotions too. And as you were asking, where did that come from? I mean, we're all at an age to where our parents, if they weren't directly part of it, they were just coming off the cusps of it, and it had a great impact of the depression, especially if you grew up in the States.
Okay.
There was no time to just cry and say I'm hungry. It was just fucking go to work, go get something, do something, help provide for your family. People were fucking starving, no money, shit like that. I mean, it's in the history books,
It's
but I
funny
think
how you say that, because, you say go to work and do this and do that. Like most men, our role in society is described as a function. Like you usually think of guys and it's like, okay, what does he do?
Provider.
You know what I
provider,
mean? Yeah, and it's like when you think of women, it's more of like
Caretaker.
not necessarily just caretaker, like it's superficial now. It's very vain out there. It's looked based. You know what I mean? How does she look?
trophy.
The first thing when someone gets a girlfriend, first thing a guy asks is, "Oh, how she look?"
Look,
You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Real deal. Real deal.
When women talk, yeah, they probably ask how they look, but the next question is, what does he do?
Yeah. Yeah.
You're
And
defined by
that's
what you
actually
do
more. I
as a
think
man.
I honestly think that's a. I mean, we'd have to get women's perspective on that, but I
I
honestly
think we
believe.
should.
Yeah, I believe that would be the first question though. Is what does he do? Like what kind of provider is he?
But I think
Which,
we're defined by that.
but
I
I
think,
think that's normal though.
sometimes there's a lot of,
I don't think that's
but some of these young young people nowadays, they're not prepared for that type of pressure. It's not pressure if you're prepared for it. Now
Yeah,
it's like,
but it's also changing. It's evolving with them because nowadays everybody's a entrepreneur. Hats off to you if that's what you do, and you don't have to pick up a shovel or lay brick or
But
those
so
are entrepreneurial jobs too.
yeah,
yeah.
there definitely are. But
But
on that note too, though, John, there's a lot of careers out here that you don't need. You push pens,
yeah,
and you push what's it called? You work with sales, because just because I have calluses don't mean that, you know. And I know plenty of manly men that do those jobs. You know.
what? Oh,
No, I was in sales. I was selling cars.
yeah, but
Um,
I don't know. Like
That's the hardest thing I had to do was pick up a phone, legit.
we're not talking about like job titles, are we? I thought we were talking
No,
about the
right, but
masculinity
remember,
part.
you started
It's
off by
actually a
talking
part of the
about by
masculinity
calluses.
because,
Yeah, because
like,
remember, you're talking about calluses and stuff. You don't get calluses when you work in
Listen,
sales. You
man.
don't get calluses
Yeah.
when you're, you know what I mean? Like,
Well, I
so
think that's the different kind because like when I think about a salesman or something like that, I think about a dude wearing like a one of them button ups, got like maybe three or four uh, gold bracelets, maybe a pinky ring, smoking a cigar on the break.
pretty
Like
much.
it's a different kind of masculinity. That was like so okay. So you know how. So I guess there's even tiers of masculinity when you think about it, because in my head I can sit there and be like, okay, you have your average everyday grinder, which will do a lot of the labor work, and then as you just said, pencil or sales, but maybe even administration, business tycoons, and they all exude masculinity. That's
Politicians. I mean, look at Donald Trump. Can't say
uh,
this dude is freaking feminine at all.
yeah, I do.
not at all.
I,
You
I
do?
do. I do.
Why?
Ain't no
Because
real man gonna spend that much on his hair. Dude, you see this nice do I got going on. You know how much this shit costs? This is free. I do this every
Ex-
couple of months.
Especially not at that age, right?
Yeah.
If you were spending that kind of money on your hair, you should have been over it by now.
Nah, I mean, but you are right. Trump comes off like a toxic male. He's the grandest prototype of a toxic male in
You
my
think
eyes.
so?
In my eyes, yeah. I mean, dude doesn't hide his sexism, and he doesn't hide how
I'm gonna be honest. I think he kind of displays
tendencies.
some feminine traits.
You think
Like,
so? Oh, because it's
here,
bitchiness.
here's I think so, man. Like, the way I grew up with masculinity, like, you don't men never really argued like that. You knew it was either, like, you can have a disagreement. It may get a little loud, but you knew that, okay, like, one of us could be gone from this. Like, let's keep our heads cool and see where we go, or try to walk away. Like that. That's kind of where I'm coming up from. But like I said, now it's just like people just say anything, and I'm like, dude, where how I was raised, like you just don't do that. You know what I mean? Like
I
they just
got you.
too
I mean,
free with it.
yeah, I kind of, I
And now
agree.
you just see it
I agree.
everywhere. Like people just
So,
say whatever and they don't care about the consequences. I think one thing about masculinity is the risk reward ratio and making a logical decision instead of a emotionally driven decision. I think that's a part of masculinity as well.
I honestly think this is a thing to where the definition to what they got written down, it really kind of it holds no real value, because it's something to where it's weighed. Oh, we got to go to commercial break. This stupid thing did that. Okay, so guys, give me 1 second while I just run this commercial break. If you have not been with us before, what we're doing is we're talking about masculinity. Let's talk freedom. Your boy Dre and Devar. Devar and John. We are missing two. We are missing Seventh Ave and we're missing Vince tonight. So I do appreciate you guys sticking with us. The meeting ended on me, so what we're gonna do is trying to keep the overhead low. So what I'm gonna do is just send another link real quick, and we'll get right back to the show. But in the meantime, I do see you fit by LJ. We should change that. Brain aneurysm is working. Sales. Yeah, you're right. It is a brain aneurysm working in sales. It really is. It really is. It really is. It really is. We're coming in. I'm coming back for you guys in not even 2 minutes. Do remember that we have my show coming up for you guys. We have my show coming up for you guys. Nah, yeah, my show, my early morning show, our Urban Country Mornings. Don't forget to check that one out. That's gonna be coming up for you within I want to launch that. I don't have a particular launch date as yet, but I do want to launch that. I do want to launch that as soon as before the new year. I definitely want to launch that before the new year. I'm doing a lot of works on it right now and getting everything situated. And we have the guys back. So
Oh, I'm told I'm getting messages. Send the new link.
yeah, no, we are back. Oh no, no, the stream is not over.
Oh, it's
So,
still streaming.
yeah,
Someone said send the new link, and it was the YouTube. It's still on that same YouTube feed that I
yeah,
sent out.
it's still on the
Okay,
same.
so it's probably it'll
Yeah,
come back then.
yeah, it didn't go
Welcome
anywhere. It's
back,
still there.
everybody.
A little technical difficulties. They try shutting us down.
But we're here and we're back.
Yeah, where were we? Because that kind of like derailed the shit out of me.
Yeah, my bad. We were talking about toxic.
Lack of
We started talking about Trump, and I said he kind of displays some
feminine qualities too.
feminine qualities.
So
Yeah.
yeah, if you guys are just joining us, I mean the subject is masculinity, right? Masculinity in general. We're touching on some toxic masculinity, and we're touching on some of the lack of masculinity. So do join the conversation, and shout out to everybody that is so far been with us. Fit by LJ says you get a brain aneurysm working in sales, and he also said heterosexuals do what? If you could elaborate.
Metrosexuals?
Yeah, metrosexuals.
Do what?
Yeah, that's what I wanna elaborate. I'm sure he was commenting on something that we were talking about.
Well, I know
Before we got
metrosexuals.
rude.
They're very coiffed and clean cut. They really worry about their
Image?
appearance. Yeah.
That's what it means to be a metrosexual.
I don't know. I'm just getting a loose definition.
Okay.
I don't have it.
Get an even looser one. Let's go to. All right. Let's see.
Let's see what Webster them say.
Woo! A young, urban, heterosexual male with liberal political views.
Oh shit.
What?
Oh shit.
And
Yo, being
interest.
heterosexual can't define your political.
I'm saying.
Whoa.
Hold on. We gotta dive into this. So this is the definition of a metrosexual: a young, urban, heterosexual male with liberal political views, an interest in fashion, and a refined sense of taste.
And fit
Hold
by
on.
LJ. Wait, and fit by LJ says they also take long time with hair.
So, wow. So you have to have all of these traits together, or do you display one? Because, you know,
It's,
I know some guys who are liberal who are not like this definite. Like they're some of the most masculine men I know. You know what I mean? They just have a liberal political view. Like I don't see how that fits in there. Like I don't understand that part.
Yeah, I don't know why they're defining it with political allegiance.
So I guess toxic masculinity, if we look up the definition of that, then it should be associated with a more conservative political view.
let's
If we're gonna go by that.
Let's see. Let's look it up.
Let's see.
Oh my goodness. Oh my geez. If guys, if you're just joining with us, man, we're looking at masculinity. We're looking at toxic. Can't even say it
Can't
right.
even get it out.
Toxic masculinity and lack of masculinity. And
All right, check this out. Oh, and by the way, in my opinion, the opinions expressed here by the VAR are not necessarily the views and opinions of Urban Country Music. They are mine and mine only, and I own them. But I kind of think the absence of masculinity is a part of toxic masculinity. But let's get to the definition of toxic masculinity now. A set of attitudes and ways of behavior stereotypically associated with or expected of men. What?
It's the same fucking thing as masculinity.
wait, what? Yeah.
A set of attitudes and ways stereotypically associated with or expected of men, regarded as having a negative impact on men and on society as a whole.
Oh, I can see the negative masculinity part,
Because
like,
it's toxic, right? Because they say it's,
Yeah.
toxic.
don't sit there and call females broads, and you don't push your like sexist opinions just because they're women and you're a man, shit like that. I can understand someone doing that.
You'd have to turn off urban radio.
But hey, I mean that's fucking that's all the rage with these
But here's my thing though, like people will look at certain people, whether you're talking about a certain political figure or something like that, and they may, say or do or even display certain behaviors that you see and hear in the music, and you'll get ridiculed for that person will get ridiculed for that, but yet when you put a beat to it and they say the same thing, it's almost acceptable in society. Yeah. It's weird because like you'll call you'll call out, let's say you call out a woman on a certain behavior, whether they're being loud or stereotypical, because there's a certain stereotype there too.
toxic femininity.
I guess so. I guess so. But here's the thing. You'll sit there and you'll make a comment about that, and you'll get criticized for it. But you got dudes dressing up in dresses like Tyler Perry, and they're displaying that type of behavior, but it's accepted. It's funny. You understand what I'm saying? Like,
doesn't that tap dance on parody?
Hold on 1 second, guys. I hate to cut you, but we got a very good comment here by Fit by LJ. So he says Wikipedia has a better one.
She.
Oh, sorry. So
there you go with the assumptions. That's toxic masculinity.
That's that toxic masculinity
shit right
there. See it? Projecting. You made a big assumption.
Real deal. Excuse me, I'm sorry about that. Fit by LJ. So toxic masculinity is thus defined by adherence to traditional male gender roles that consequently stigmatize and limit the emotions boys and men may comfortably express while elevating other emotions such as anger.
Well, I only have two emotions. Well, no, three. I have sadness, very happy, and angry.
Yeah, yeah, you're a toxic man.
Sounds toxic to me.
I'm either really angry or really happy. I mean, it's
But
driven in me. I know it's an issue, but that's just what it is.
I got you. But I think that is a better definition, honestly, because it's just like it's just like what we were saying earlier, how we were raised, and there was this kind of thing to where, you know, the men of the family kind of just set their head down and did what they had to do, and they never felt no pain, or they didn't, you know what I mean? They never had anything to deal with, or they didn't, because they never showed their cards, you know.
Or they just ass with the fucking stone cold face on. Like, as you're going back to your youthful days, my pops didn't really talk to me all that much in my younger days. He was quiet. Um, Told me, hey, dinner's done, or there's some food, go to school. Pretty much it. Um, but entertainment, the world of entertainment, movies and film and shows are the images that instilled or helped reinforce that masculinity projection I had. That's like,
What shows you're referring to, and what do you like?
okay, so like if you came up back then, I mean, you had everything from the way George Jefferson was. You
Okay,
had, I
okay,
caught the remnants of All in the Family.
got you.
One of my top five is Married with Children.
Oh man, classic.
Yeah, and you know what? That
If
just
they
taught me
called,
how it's going to be.
they called, they called, if they said Bill Cosby was America's dad, I
Yeah,
think Al Bundy was America's baby daddy.
right. But I mean,
He was the
and then
illegitimate dad.
even going further and
Sanford
delving
and
into the
Son.
world of film, I mean, so what? So you had obviously you have the action stars,
Right.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Mr.
Then you had,
T.
Were they toxic? Would they be defined as toxic?
I mean, Mr.
Arnold
T was definitely freaking toxic, bro.
I think they kind of was, man.
pity the fool.
I pity the
Wait.
fool. Mr. T covered his emotions in gold, bro.
So
Oh,
that's true.
Hold on.
Oh,
So
that's
Mr.
powerful
T,
what you said.
He did.
Oh man.
he always had them janky fucking sneakers every time.
Yeah,
he
you.
was,
Yep.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
there's a story behind it.
yeah, those are
Yeah.
the tributes to his mother.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
But I mean, okay, so you take away the action stars, but then you still got motherfuckers like Jack Nicholson and random other fucking big stars back in the day. I think Kurt Russell wasn't really a big action star during that time period, but you had all these people, man, and they all came off like uber masculine. But the one thing is that a lot of them were portrayed as sexist as fuck, and but they got the job done. They
Gotcha.
got the job done.
Yeah.
You know, and but that's what was big during the time. But people don't realize that, you know, it influenced a whole generation, two generations after, and it's still being watered down now.
Because
So do
even
you think that had do you think that those movies had an impact on basically what we see today?
Of course, man. Of course.
All right. Now, the movies that we see today, what kind
They're
of
a little
impact do you
safer, though.
think those are going to have? The one today is safer? How so?
I think Hollywood is really trying to go all out and trying to take back a lot of the damage of the whole toxic masculinity movement and call out. And your characters aren't portrayed in the same fashion because they're progressing forward. I don't know if that makes any sense. To me, it makes sense. But
When you say progressing forward, what do you
within the current times, so the way society is, like, okay, so back in the day, it was okay for like Harrison Ford to sit there and call a chick toots as he's Indiana Jones and all this shit. Then you move forward, you ain't having dudes calling women toots. The more so the cat calling and all that stuff, which I agree with. I'm not saying back then was completely right. It was just entertainment, and I enjoyed some of the movies. But they're being a little bit more respectful in certain manners. There's a lot more inclusion. Um, Situations are way different, and I think you know how life imitates art. Sometimes art imitates life.
right?
So I think they're trying to undo some of the damage and trying to progress through that outlet. Um, the masses.
So
I might not be conveying myself properly.
no. I'm following what you're saying. I'm just trying to I'm
Hey
trying to
guys,
see.
hey guys,
Yeah,
I hate to shut you down. But hold that thought because we got a couple of people on the line that want to jump into the conversation.
cool.
All right. Hello, caller, you're live.
All right. All right. Greetings, everybody. Me, don't know
Yo,
who it is.
Wagwan.
Hello?
Greetings. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
All
Wagwan
right.
family.
So, the topic of toxic masculinity. I have a couple of comments to make. One, I hear the definition, the breakdown, the breakdown of what toxic masculinity is. And when we listen to it, somebody even rightfully say it sounds the same as what masculinity is, which sound like to me that sound like just a pissed off female with some grind, some beef or grind that just come up with that term. Because as a man, when I look around, first of all, we have to have masculinity to even go into toxic, and we don't have no masculinity anymore. You understand?
You're talking
Simple
about in
fact that
today's
masculinity.
time. Oh, he can't hear me.
And today's time, yeah, there's no masculinity.
Oh, you hear me?
anymore.
Okay,
That's my
cool.
opinion. Yeah, that's my opinion. So even like we're in a climate where masculinity means that we sometimes as men have to know not to take the feelings of women because they act and emotion into consideration and big men. And because we are an apologetic nation now, everything just done all right. We don't have masculinity anymore, and that's just my opinion.
I can see where you're
Apologetic
coming from with
nation. What do
that.
you mean?
Huh?
No,
You
I
said
said I
we
can.
are an apologetic nation. What do you mean?
All right. For example, we sometimes we can make. Well, sorry about that. We can make speeches that offend, but our intention was not to offend. And because we are male and we mostly operate on a different frequency, our message might come across distasteful. But don't necessarily mean that we need to apologize for it, because if we apologize, then the whole intent of the message just get watered down and dilute. If you get what I'm saying.
So you're
I get
saying
where
the
you're going with that.
intention.
And with that, one second, Devar. With that, I'm gonna let you go. And I really appreciate the call, but we do have someone else on the line. I think we might have an opposing view. Let's hear the other caller. Give me one second.
All right.
Hello, caller. Hi, you're live.
Okay.
Evening.
So I wanted to comment on the fact that he said that today is much better or an advancement of the times.
Uh-huh.
I don't think it's an advancement of the times at all. I think at the moment what we're doing is we're making it harder for young men to find their identity and manhood. We're also glamorizing certain things that shouldn't be glamorized all the time. And I also think toxic masculinity has also to do with how women are with their femininity, and how we put ourselves out there and what we accept and tolerate.
I think you're touching on something there. Can you elaborate for us?
Ooh.
Well,
Indeed.
as a woman, I know a lot of people, when they see Cardi B and Nicki Minaj, they think they set the bar of how these little girls are acting. But that crap started with Madonna, all the artists from back in the day as well. It's what you let your kids watch. When
Even
you sit
Madonna
there-
had influences.
Exactly.
You know,
When
you look at
sit
Marilyn
there
Monroe,
as
like
a
you could
woman
go
and you
back.
don't know the power of your femininity, and you say it's okay. Back in the day, P. Diddy, everybody's saying Trump is an example of toxic masculinity. If you look at what P. Diddy did to these women in the music industry, that was toxic masculinity right there, blacklisting a whole group of great talent. What was done, if you watch Behind the Music, of what happened to a lot of these young R&B or soulful groups, that was toxic masculinity of these women. And what happened is we didn't use our voice. We just tolerate anything to avoid, to fill our bed or whatever, and we don't speak up for ourselves. That's where toxic masculinity comes in. When women are sitting here calling each other, hey, bitch, you enabling toxic masculinity. How you expect somebody to respect you when you say, hey, bitch? That's not respect.
I agree.
Of course, men are going to think it's okay. You know, there's a fine line. It's not, you know, as a black woman, I struggle every day because I'm too white, because I demand respect, or because I talk too proper. But it's because I have standards for myself. I'm not going to degrade myself and expect somebody to respect me when I don't have any self-respect. You know, or you have artists like Lil' Kim back in the day, rapping about how many licks and stuff like that. Joining the boys. Well, when we join the boys, they're going to, of course, exhibit toxic masculinity. Why? Because we're accepting it when we join the boys club. You can have men respect you without joining the club.
I'm
So
really
you're saying
glad.
because you project that type of energy out there, you're basically getting you're basically getting back what you put in? Is that what you're saying?
That's exactly what it is we don't command the respect.
And this is a
you wanna talk
general
about fuck
statement,
boys, there's
guys.
fuck girls too. So if we want the respect to be heard, if we want all this feminine rights, it shouldn't be, oh, let's attack the president. Let's attack the goddamn music industry that started it back in the day. Let's attack it right there.
Let me ask you a question though. Like, you know, you touch on the music industry. I look at it like this, especially when you're talking about the music industry and the influence that it has on, you know, impressionable young males and females. When you look at it, who controls that? How is it being put out there? Who is backing the because remember, we look at the artist and sometimes we hold the artist accountable, but a lot of times the artist it's another job. Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm not making an excuse for people like Cardi B or anyone else out there, but someone has control to put that image out to the masses, and they feel that they're going to use this individual to project them on. Now, who's doing that, and should they be held accountable for that? Because at the end of the day, when you look at it, it's a
because when you look at that
business.
show, Love and Hip Hop, there's a director. I don't know her name. She's a big director. You look at the shows, Real Housewives. They only portray black women as ghetto, loud, uneducated, fight scenes all the time. I'm 35 years old. I can tell you I ain't ever been in a physical altercation a day in my life. That director, for portraying black women like that as a black female herself and as black people, I don't tune into Tyler Perry. I don't tune into her.
I agree with you.
Support that funding. Don't go pay for his movies, because not every black woman is raped with HIV, and not every black woman needs a man to complete her and come save her babies from her first baby daddy.
Very powerful.
Not every black woman is at 35 going to be sitting there greasing up with petroleum jelly. I have that kind of money. You think I'm going to sit with petroleum jelly in my back to fight you. Girl.
Very, 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 very,
Wait,
very.
wait.
That was a very, very
Hold on, John.
good
John,
caller.
you want to
That was-
jump in?
John, I'm sorry, John. I'm sorry, John. I already
Yeah.
switched the call. I'm sorry. I already switched the
damn
call. I didn't even mean to. I didn't even
People
mean
are
to
asking
do
for the
it.
number.
Yes. The number's on the screen. We have someone else in. We have another caller in. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller, you're live.
Hi, this is me. I think I just finished.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I'm sorry about that. I thought, I was trying to get the other caller, and I thought I lost you, but no, you're still here. John wanted to ask you a question.
Yeah, what was petroleum jelly for?
Oh, for fighting.
Oh,
So
they
when you
typically
get
grease
hit,
themselves before they fight. And I don't know how.
Oh.
You rich with money, you carry 2-ounce bag of petroleum jelly from the dollar store in your bag ready to fight. Come on. I think I own gasoline in my house.
Hey guys, the number should be displayed.
The number to call, it is displayed on the screen. It's 954 379. Caller, thank you for calling. I'm sorry, 954-372-0066. Again, that's 954-372-0066. Thank you for everyone that is participating in the conversation with us tonight. We really appreciate it. And both interesting points from both callers. What do you guys think?
I didn't like that. I didn't like she didn't agree with me, but I'm just playing around. I wasn't saying that it's better now. I'm just saying I think Hollywood's trying to they're trying to walk it back on all the damage that they originally done.
Are they walking it back or are they walking it in a different direction? Like I think that there's a not to sound like a conspiracy theorist or anything like that, but I think there is a certain direction that they are walking this thing. You know, not necessarily walking it back, but kind of walking it down a certain path. And it's conducive to the absence of masculinity. Like it's almost like it helps it's almost like it helps take masculinity out of the picture. And the thing is, majority of males who are masculine do not display what they call toxic masculinity. You know, however, you do have certain people who display that type of behavior, but that's used as the marker. You use those people to measure the masses, and like you can't do that. Like it's not good to use a certain group of people to display all of us. Majority of guys, like, we just want to live. We go to work, we come home, we do, what we do. But because, a female may have had a bad experience with someone in her life, they kind of write all guys off, or they look for certain things that remind them of what they deem toxic masculinity, and they say, oh, you're just one of those. Like, yeah, not just steer clear or call it out. You may have a moment, John, like, we've known each other for a little bit now, and you seem like a real level-headed guy. You may say or do the wrong thing one day, and to someone, you may look like a toxic male just because of that one encounter.
Yeah.
Sometimes we take one little encounter and we use that to, oh, I know you, I know your type. And it's not the case, because we don't take the time to actually know each other.
I think you're right. Hold on, let's go back to the lines real quick.
All right.
Caller, you live.
Yeah, am I on?
Yes, you're on.
Yeah. Name is Mark. With the toxic masculinity thing, in my opinion, it's just the liberal Democrat nonsense, right? If you notice, when you see even two women together, very rare, because you do things by statistic, right? If 95% of the kids are learning, nothing is 100%. If 95% of the kids are learning in school, got a successful school. 95% of the time, when we take a plane, we get from point A to point B safely. That's a successful flight. Nothing is 100%. If you look at most gay relationships between women, one is a male, one looks like a male at least, one is a female. Very rare you see two pretty female. So one is trying to portray herself as a male. And most of the time, what I'm going to say is a little bit off the wall and might be a little bit, I don't want to say controversial because it makes you sound like you're trying to be important. But if you notice most women, they'll tell you that they want a nice guy. But most of the guys they date are the players and the pimps. And not pimp in the literal sense, you know, a playboy. You go in a club, Point Dexter with the glasses on is at the bar. Meanwhile, Rico Suave with a slick back hair, or Tyrone with a gold tooth and, you know, blah, 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 the good-looking guy with 6 girls, that's the guy everyone is looking at. So
But what
you
age
ask the
demographic are we
woman,
looking?
you ask the woman what she really wants. She wants the masculine guy. She wants the guy who can take control. And to be honest, that is normal. That is totally normal. What the Democrats are doing and what this woke society is doing, they're trying to take away masculinity from the male. That's like me trying to tell a female, well, I don't like the way, you know, you're too feminine. Yeah, I want you to be a little bit more masculine. The whole thing is upside down. Now, does some guy take it over the top? Yes, but that's with anything in life. But overall, a male should have his, to be masculine, he should be, generally speaking, the head of the family. And if you notice, and this again, statistically, most women, if the man is wimpy, curl around, lay on the floor, and the woman controls and dominates, 80% of the time, she has no respect for him.
So we got a comment. We got a comment on your caller. We have Fit by LJ says 1 second. Fit by LJ says no. Club ain't where you go to find a good man. And that honestly, that's what I was.
No. That was just an example. That's not. I get it. Club is not where you go. My broader picture, my broader point was the female is looking for a dominant lion. She's not looking for the lion that lays around and whimper every day. That's the general point and gist that I was making.
Now,
That's
when you
true.
say dominant, are you talking about in thought and action as it pertains to society, or are you talking about in the relationship?
Yeah, because I
In
mean,
all
like
aspects.
you could be a
In
dominant
all aspects
person.
of the relationship. I'm not saying beat
You say
your wife.
all
God
aspects?
forbid, no. Right. I'm not saying beat your wife. In all aspects.
No. We're not saying that. We're not saying that. Like dominance doesn't necessarily mean abuse. Dominance could be a form of teaching. I teach
leadership.
martial arts.
Right.
I dominate my students. I don't, you understand what I'm saying? Like,
You don't abuse
look,
them. Right. You don't abuse them.
hold on, John's got something to say. Hold on.
No, but what I was trying to say is like, and then where does this caretaking and dominance? Which aspect does this come from? Because I mean, you could be a bad boy in the club and still be a bum when it comes down to opening up your wallet. And Point Dexter might look like a nerd on the dance floor, but as soon as he opens up his wallet, he's looking like marriage material. So which aspect are we looking from?
And honestly, so I honestly, a part of that too. I think as we touched on before, one of the things that I think women yearn from men is security, and security comes in all kinds of different forms, right? It comes financially, it comes from strength, So
I'll leave you guys with this. They have a saying, right? The quest and thirst of a woman for a woman is material things, and the quest and thirst for a man is a woman. Chris Rock said it best. If a woman wants a man who's living in a cardboard box under a bridge, every single guy would have a cardboard box under a bridge. So my point is, you know what I mean? My point is, we do things to please the woman. But
absolutely,
when you look at the woman action, you guys are, generally speaking, obviously, because you're going to have one guy who's going to say, no, that's not true. But everything is statistically, generally speaking, right? But if you talk to, just ask most of these women,
Even the young lady that just called, she's 35. Ask her if she's honest, and she might be the one unique one. But generally speaking, if you ask them, how she's 35, so she's had a few relationships. Ask her most of the guys she's dated, how are they? I guarantee you, she may have 1 point extra, but 3 players that she has dated all day. They go after the dominant guy. They go after the guy who has that masculinity. And the more society try to strip a man of who he really is, because I don't want a masculine woman.
Right.
I want a woman to be feminine and strong, and I want a man to be masculine and strong.
Mark, hold on. Mark, we got you. We got you. I think I'm gonna have to let you go because we got more calls coming in on that point. All right, bless you. Thanks for calling. Okay, caller, you're live.
Me 35 materialistic. I can answer.
Okay. So, I saw you in the comments. You were saying he's wrong.
He's wrong. That's not what women want.
Elaborate.
Okay, I understand his term for dominance. When you're looking for a partner, you're looking for a leader. Doesn't necessarily, based on the way I grew up and biblical principles, you let a man be a man, okay? What's happening
What does that
now is
mean?
because we're also independent black women, and I'm an independent black woman. I'm a single mother, and I had to humble myself this year to learn how to take help from a man without thinking in the back of my head he's going to want something later.
Yeah.
So what's happening now is because women, we've been holding it down on our own so long. When y'all come in the picture, you think it's material things we want. We don't want material things. When we're talking about security and leadership, we want you to come in, and yeah, we want you to come in, be a part of what we built, but don't need, when we come together, we'll make financial decisions together. If you say no as the head of the household on primary decisions, and as your queen, I'm going to back you up on that. I don't need you to finance my house, my car, take care of me, take care of my kid. I finance my damn self already very well. But when we're talking about leadership, we want that person that has the quality, love, patience, enduring, truthful, faithful, loyal. And
Hold on. You said truth.
Men nowadays have no respect for a woman. They don't value us until we're gone. And we don't go to a club to pick up a good man. I've gotten on a date while I was picking up apples at the grocery store because the person was intrigued by the fact that I was sitting there contemplating which apples to buy. Had a great intellectual conversation with the person. That is a person of longevity, and I'm still seeing the person because of the fact that it wasn't his finances or anything. It wasn't until probably our 4th date I learned his financial status, and it didn't matter to me. It wasn't about where he was from. It was, wow, he stimulated my mind mentally. We had an intellectual bond that was phenomenal. And he's
Now, let me ask you a
when I say
question.
dominant, he opens the doors. He makes sure I walk on the proper side of the street. He's very respectful. He maintains eye contact. When we're on a date, he's not on his phone or on social media the whole time.
So, but let me
Can I
ask you a
ask her
question.
a
though.
question?
Well, let me get one in first, real quick.
All right.
So when you're with him, do you experience some kind of security? Yes or no?
I'm going to tell you this. I made the mistake because of the bad men I had dated before. I pulled out my card first to pay the bill, and I got checked real quick. In a very nice way, he was like, I'm not one of those men. Put it away.
Okay. So, but I honestly wasn't talking about financially.
Well, you
Because
said some
security comes in all kinds of different
Mental
forms.
security,
Huh?
you feel safe. When we talk about security,
Yeah.
a woman wants to feel safe and protected.
Right.
You
Right.
don't want your peace of mind threatened. So I can tell you that every date I've been on, every intellectual text message, whatever we're encountering, I definitely feel that I don't have to worry about somebody else. There's a peace of mind.
Right.
My self-worth does not come into question. I don't have to change who I am or figure out, let me change up my dress. I'm not in competition with anybody. He's about me being the best version of myself. I'm about him being the best version of himself, and we bring out the best version of each other.
Sounds
So
like
you're
y'all on
looking
the
at
way
it
to a
like
good
a-
relationship.
So you're looking at it like more of a partnership,
Yeah.
because that sounds,
It's not.
but that sounds
women who
more.
wants
Oh, hold on, but that sounds more codependent than independent. See, with me, I don't like this whole independent thing. I'm talking about for men and women. I think we are necessary for each other. Now, you may not have the right one right now, and you have to do what you have to do, regardless of what situation that you're in. But I think, we need each other. And the problem is in society now, men and women have become more competition than that codependent partnership that's necessary for you know for growth. And you look at it
And that
now,
I
and
agree with you on.
because
That
like
I
I
mean,
think we
before
shouldn't be in competition. I think there's a lot that we can do together. When I talk to these young boys, I tell them, like, look, you know men need women around, like, not just to be objectified or just looked at in a certain way. Like, you can literally scale your life up as well as their life too, by coming together and building. It should all be about building. And then you may find that one where you can settle with, and you build your own little niche in society, your own little space together, and you leave that legacy. Like, that's codependency. That's not independency. But in society, they always promote being independent, and it really tears that family structure apart. Now, I know some people don't necessarily want that. And if whoever is that person, to each his own. But when you're talking generally speaking, and as a society, and coming together and building together and leaving that
Good morning.
legacy,
Now, I know you didn't.
every decision that we make is going to set the stage for the people who are coming behind us. And we have to question, what are we leaving?
well, that is like, and that's the thing. Like, it's a thing for me.
This guy,
For a green card, I'm gonna carve him up real
Good
nice.
morning.
this guy. Access to abortion.
I'm gonna carve him up real nice.
I'm kind of in the mood for some stimulating conversation.
Excellent.
See how foolish I made you look right.
Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids.
You're brilliant. You're handsome. You're rich.
This guy.
Wait, you want me to tell you what my husband thinks? My husband is not the Secretary of State. I am.
Speaking of asses.
Good morning.
Grab him by the pussy.
Bobby, why don't you go look in the adventure section? Anything about a boy with gumption should be fine.
The time is now.
You also worked with them to oppose busing.
It's a scam. It's a scam.
Will you
Who
shut
is your-
up, man?
listen,
One unit together. We thrive together. I'm gonna let him lead because he's led by God. And that's the thing, is a lot of people think that when you get in a relationship, it's a competition. I was in that relationship where there was competition. He actually tallied what birthday gift he bought me. Oh, my gift was more expensive than your gift. Sheer fuckery.
You're not with a man. Like, that's
No,
that
no,
that's
it didn't
toxic.
be that way. Very toxic. And like, if I got a raise at work, it was like, oh. But then I go, some men, they're like, oh, I want a woman like you who's going to take care of me, an entrepreneur tag. I'm sorry, I'm entitled to
toxic
raise
too.
one person. And that's my child. That's the only person I'm entitled to raise. So what I build for is, I want someone who mentally stimulates me. I don't necessarily say I'm going to want someone who has all their shit together. When I say physically they're in the right place, when I say physically, a man who takes care of himself should be the type of man you want around you, because that means he'll take care of you. And when I say that is, you need to be of equal health. I don't want to say I do to somebody and then I do at Broward General 30 days later. That's not going to happen. You want somebody who's emotionally stable, spiritually stable, physically stable in the sense that they do some kind of regular physical activity. Their health matters to them. And also built to where they're connected to their universe. They know where they stand with a vision. They have a plan, not just a goal that they speak about, but nothing in the works.
Let me ask you a
So-
question. Does he have to be like that all the time? And
No,
what if
not
he
necessarily.
runs
That's where you come in as a
into
partner.
but what if he runs into a hard time, and he needs that pick me up, that shoulder, that person to be there, because as much as you know, society doesn't really put it out there and guys don't really talk about it, we have our breakdown points too, you know, but our problem is we don't really express it like that, and we don't really have people to express what's going on with us like that. And sometimes we're really hurting inside, like John was talking about it too. Like when we grow up, it's do this, do that, and that's it. That's what you're expected to do, you know. And I get what John said when he says they're trying to walk it back. You know what I mean? Like they're trying to undo some of the damage.
You have to learn to be the cheerleader to pull someone out of their trenches. I mean, I was in a relationship where the person made more money than me, and then once I got certain things in order, we were at equal financial level. Well, he lost his job, and I told him, hey, take a month off, figure out what you're doing, and don't go into a job. You have a passion. Your passion is web design. You're smart. Figure out how you can play your passion. He took the month, did his thing, and every day through that month, what I did is I sent him a text of positive messages every single day. I didn't let him feel that he was less of a man because he didn't have a job. I built him up, and then he ended up opening his own web design company.
That's what's up.
Regardless, I don't think any guy needs anybody to make him feel less than a man. They have well, from my experience, me personally, I beat myself up more than anybody else can. So if I'm not following,
I think society does that to us, though.
I agree. And
like I think society kind of, you know, puts us in a certain
No, I honestly, I really wanted to thank you for calling in. I really appreciate it. I do want to let some other people get in on the line, but like I said, thank you for calling. You brought in some very interesting points.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks.
Hey, I got a question for Devar and Andre.
What's up?
What up?
Am I the only person that fell off of the Zoom call?
No.
No, I fell off too. Like it's the second time.
No, it's the second time.
But then I noticed it was still. I noticed it was still going.
Yeah, the thing is.
So when I listened back at the first time it fell off, I thought it was gone, and I was talking some shit. So hopefully, so that's all recorded now. But okay, I didn't get the warning. I just gotta own it. It is what it is.
So we got a comment from Dietrich on YouTube. So he says, rewind. I think we need to consider the following first. Who sets the bar? Where does the culture look? Where does the culture look for their objective modeling of masculinity? Not the dictionary. Good thing. He says, if we, the culture, get our definition from the entertainment industry, is going to be a miserable. It's going to be what is it? Malleable. It's going to be malleable depending on who. Malleable. Okay, depending on who finances it.
Well, I mean, you can either you can either turn on your favorite flick or listen to your favorite song, or you can check out Forbes. That's where a lot of people are getting their new role models from. I mean, dude, I seriously think, like, I ain't fucking rich. Try to be a good masculine role model for my kids. I mean, nobody outside of this box and whoever's watching and listening. I am a ghost, like, to most people. Thank you for choosing my existence and giving me some kind of a airwave, but I don't think a masculine dude needs the accolades of strangers.
That's absolutely right, and I was about to touch on that. I think everyone sets their own bar. For instance, for me, for instance, what's important to me is what I pass on to my boys as far as masculinity goes, right? Teaching them my idea of
even your daughter.
Yeah, even my daughters. You know, teaching them the idea of what I think society should get from a man. You know, what a man's place in society is to do. You know, and but part of that is to take care of yourself, right? Because I truly firmly believe that you have to first take care of yourself before you take care of others. And I think that's one thing we are lacking in being a man is taking care of ourselves first before we take care of the rest of the world. I think a lot of times we're programmed to just keep our head down and just feel like we can just keep on taking on things and taking on things and taking on things. And really and truly, it affects our health later on in life, and we're not as able to do as much as we could accomplish if we were to simply take care of ourselves first.
It's funny you say that
Well,
because men don't live as long as women on average, and a lot of
Stress.
absolutely, you better believe it. I have a comment here that I want to read. Someone said, I think the primary thing that a wife can do for her husband is to respect him. The final decision is the husband's after the wife have discussed, have discussions about it. We have to love our husbands and make our home a safe haven for them. Are you guys in agreement?
I don't 100% agree with that shit. I mean, pardon my crassness on the end of that, but I do believe, at least in my household, and the same shit I'm gonna teach my daughter is that you need to be respected as a co-owner of this relationship. So if I can't agree to it, you can't agree to it. I'm not just gonna get my way just the dude. Fuck that shit. I don't want no dudes to daughter.
I think
then obviously it just ain't gonna get done. You better move on to something else. Come up with an alternative.
I think that word respect goes a long way, and I don't think it's a one-sided type of thing at all. Period. You know what I mean? Respect for each other goes. It helps a lot of all of this. You know, respect from my wife to let me be a man, just like the caller was saying earlier. You know, I know women. I know a few, but I'm thinking about one in particular right now. I won't mention who she is, but she doesn't let men be men. Like, she doesn't let men be men. Like,
she's the dominant one, man.
And sometimes I'm like, yo, look, she'll be with her dude or whatever, and I'll come on the scene and I'll be like, yo, and I'll go to talking to dude, and she'll start answering for dude. And I'm like, yo, can you let this man be a man? Like,
what if he doesn't know how to be?
But no, she'll cut him off. Like, no, she won't give him the opportunity, man. You know what I mean? Like, it's different. It's different.
If he's a man, does he have to be given an opportunity? Like, here's the thing. How did he find himself in that situation to begin with? Also, what was his upbringing that caused him to be so docile and passive when it comes to...
No, she doesn't do it. No, it's not like she's doing it to him alone. She tries to do it to me too. Like, she does not let men be men.
With that conflict,
yeah,
right?
she gets met with conflict. Like, yo, slow down. Like, slow down. Let me put you back in your place for a minute. But then again, me and her aren't in any kind of a relationship. So it takes nothing for me to just, hey, get back in your place a minute. You feel me?
Generally speaking,
where he's in a relationship with her, so he has to think about what he's saying before he's saying it.
But I've seen that type before, and generally speaking, I'm gonna let you go, John. I promise. I just want to get this thought off. Generally speaking, females who display that kind of or attempt to display that kind of dominance around men, when you look at their partners seem to be the counterpart to that. If you have a male that is basically the male that, generally speaking, a lot of females describe that they want, if they're coming to a guy with that type of energy that you're describing, chances are they're not going to be in a relationship with that guy, because the guy is not going to put up with that for long. But there's guys out there that they will attract, and, you know, whether it's, to me, that doesn't seem like a partnership, regardless of how it goes, whether the female is playing that dominant role or the male is playing that dominant role. I look at it more as a partnership. If I'm in a downtime, lift me up. you know,
But don't get me wrong.
down,
So
do what you do.
wait, don't
and
get me
take it in.
wrong.
But I get what you're saying though.
No, but
because
I
I've seen
want to
that,
elaborate.
But they attract a certain type of male.
No, but I want to elaborate though, because in the same breath, right? This is the same person where
You can't change that dude. That dude gonna be that dude.
No, I'm
And he
talking
gonna
about
look
her.
for another.
No, I'm talking about
I understand.
her.
I
like,
understand.
but she's the same type of person where she's gonna play her woman role in so many other ways. You know what I mean? Like she's gonna make sure he's taking care of himself. She's gonna make sure he's eating right. She's gonna make sure he's like.
She's very motherly.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe she's just very motherly. Maybe
doesn't mind it. What I was gonna say is, I don't know if it's all women, but the one caller that was talking about, women want to be dominated. It's not 100% inaccurate. It just depends on the woman. My wife is very dominating. And I know from speaking to her, a lot of her past relationships and whatnot didn't work out because she was the dominant. Just my dominance my dominance dominates her dominance because we're both aggressive. So that's something that I'm able to handle her strong personality and will.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I need that. So they might come off abrasive. If you're, there's someone out there for everybody. There's someone.
Yeah, there is.
I agree.
There is.
I agree. It's just that type of energy always seems to like I see it, man. Like I see, certain women, they're on top of their stuff. Like it's almost like whatever they've been through, they work so hard to get themselves to a certain point. And the man that they describe is not necessarily the man that they end up with. It always seems to be that man that there's no nice way to say it. They control them. And if they're in a relationship and they're accepting of that, whose business is it? If they both are accepting of that, cool. It is what it is. It's just, there has to be a give and take. There has to be balance within the relationship.
Right.
Like with me and my wife, it's like I seek her counsel on a lot of decisions that we make. Whatever it is that needs to be done, we got to come together and we have to discuss it because it affects us and we're responsible for all of these little people coming up behind us, and we have to make sure everything is right. So we got to sit down and we got to get it right. But also, I say that men and people, I'll probably get some flack for this, but men and women are not equal.
No, absolutely not. But
at all.
but we definitely support each other though.
That.
But we definitely support each other. Right.
There's
right.
a balance there.
Right.
I'm incomplete without that counterpart.
Absolutely.
I don't need an equal. I need a counterpart.
Right.
I don't need an equal. I need someone who can pick up where I'm lacking. You know what I mean?
I need the yin to my yang.
There you go.
Right.
There you go. And we don't talk about that enough.
Let me just interject real quick. I mean,
yes, sir.
What you said is that we need each other, and that's 100%. To me, that's 100% accurate, and it's backed by science because I believe they did some psychology test to where obviously they go through the whole shit, and it broke down that women more tend to work more off of emotion and men work off of logic.
Generally speaking, that is true.
So if what you guys are saying are true,
logical all day long, we're just gonna sound like fucking robots, and we're gonna seem like assholes because we're not.
Yeah, because we don't connect on that emotional side. Because, John, you hit a certain point right there, and Dre, it's 100% true. Because a lot of times we're always looking for the logical approach, especially when it comes to problem solving. Our counterparts come to us with a problem where we're like, okay, let's go ahead and do this. This is so rigid and like that. Sometimes they want the engagement.
Yeah, they want the emotions.
They want yeah, you can call it that, but sometimes the answer is in the dialogue for them. Sometimes the answer is just in that sharing and they figure it out. But a lot of times we're so wired to try to fix something that we don't catch that.
I went through that in counseling. You're absolutely right.
We miss that part.
No, you're absolutely right.
And I had to learn that sometimes it's like, okay, stop trying to figure out, huh?
Me motherhood. No, I just was taking back something. They want to be misconstrued.
No, but it's like with me, I had to learn that. It was like sometimes I had to tell myself, just be quiet, let her talk, let's see where this goes, and then interject when necessary and have that dialogue and see where it goes. But our upbringing, especially as males raised at a certain time, it's like head down, head on a swivel, do this, back to what we talked about in the beginning. You know what I mean? And now you have a female counterpart. Women develop quicker than men, they say, as far as the intellectual side. I think we just learn different. If school was catered to learning hands-on, I think males would do a lot better younger. Females are better orators early. They can talk about certain things and get things done. We kind of developed that a little bit later. But my bad, go ahead.
No. I was gonna ask, do you think that has anything to do with? Okay, so you have to connect with your children on an emotional level to teach them and to understand them. So, do you think that's why women work more so off of an emotional level?
Do they work off an emotional level? I mean, we're just generally speaking, right? Because like I said, there's always, and just to the audience and people out there watching, there's always exceptions to the rules. So when you hear us say something, it's a generalization. Statement. If it doesn't apply, let it fly. That's all I'm saying. Like, don't get.
I'm not speaking in absolutes.
Yeah, we gotta put that out there, because some people will get in their feelings and be like, oh, I don't do that, or I don't. It's not about that. It's a general thing. There's certain things that were said on the call that don't apply to me, but I'm not gonna be like, well, I don't display that. You get what I'm saying? Like, it is what it is. But back to what you were saying, John. My bad.
Yeah, no. I was just saying how we were speaking about the study in women working more so off an emotional level. Now, children need that emotional connection, and I sometimes find myself struggling. Because I'm just like, I look at my kid and he does something wrong. I'm like, why the fuck are you doing that? Like, I don't say.
No, like, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. That's me too.
Like what you got going on.
And then it's almost like they need that emotional guidance more so than the verbal, or like, I can show you how to do this. Put something together. And you won't fucking do it. But if your mom tells you, do it like this, and this certain soothing tones, and reading his emotional output, that really helps him put it together. Even though we're directing in the same manner, it's the emotion behind the words and the direction that affect and connect.
So you're saying,
I absolutely, I would see that. I can see that 100% being accurate all the time, and even with everything though, because like
that's why a majority of teachers are women.
But even with sales, like, there were certain things when you said certain things, you did certain things to portray certain things. I'm not going to give all the sale guys secrets away, but you use certain. Okay, just one. Just one. If a salesperson is talking to you and he puts his hand on your shoulder while he's giving you a price, or he's trying to he's breaking you down, like legit, like just a hand on the shoulder. You feel people melt in your hand when you put a hand on their shoulder. You will feel people legit melt. It has to be a caring hand. It has to feel like a caring hand. No, it can't. It can't. It doesn't have to be a caring hand. It just has to feel like a caring hand.
Yeah.
I don't have to care when I'm putting my hand there. All I have to do is make you feel like I'm caring. Huh?
You care about that commission, so you caring.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. But
what you're saying is people are good at People are good at getting the message across, and they don't necessarily connect with that message themselves. Is that what you're
Yes, I
saying?
mean you can definitely people are definitely able to manipulate
Mm.
situations like that.
Sounds like
Absolutely.
the two P's: preachers and politicians.
Yeah, I mean, you know,
Put those two in the pot and send them to outer space.
listen.
But yeah, there's definitely people who are good at let's call it what it is. It's manipulation. You know, some people, they're not necessarily emotionally connected to a certain conversation, but they're expecting a certain outcome, and they, you know, express a certain emotion, but they know their target. You know your mark when it comes to that. Like
Right.
that's
Right.
that. Now, would that be considered a form of toxic masculinity?
But is
No,
It's kind of overt. It's kind of like,
No, because I know women salespeople that did that. Did the same
yeah,
crap.
but remember,
It's just manipulation.
masculinity is a trait. So they're saying, according to their definition, it's not exclusive. It's not just synonymous to man.
But so are we gonna say are we making masculinity out to be a bad thing then?
I think
no, toxic masculinity.
Toxic masculinity.
Honestly, I think society is I think right now the way that society is viewing masculinity, it's almost like they're looking at them interchangeable. Like masculinity is the last name and toxic is the first name. So when you say masculinity, it's already offensive. You understand what I'm saying?
I got what you're saying. No. I get what you're saying.
It's like they're not seeing that there is a difference in between it, you know, and it puts men at a certain point where it's like, okay, what do? Do I conform to society, or, you know, are there people out? Because I grew up where men used to express how they felt. You may not have liked hearing it, but it was expressed. Now it seems to be suppressed, and now it's like you can't say and do certain things. If you're
in cancel culture, man.
Okay, but here's the thing. If someone is offended by what I say, they have the right to express that to me.
Right.
Should they be able to shut me down because of something that I said?
Absolutely not.
But they feel that their thoughts and opinions on yours just they can't accept the opposition. They can't have a debate or a passionate verbal sparring. They have to attack your livelihood to prove that they're right.
Is
How
that
wrong-
masculinity? And would that be considered, would that behavior be considered toxic? Would that behavior and that display deserve the surname toxic? And what would we call it after that?
You know what? Can you do me a favor? Can you pull up both of those definitions again? Because looking at the comments, it looks like we need to go over those definitions again. Both of the definitions for the toxic masculinity and the regular masculinity.
All right, we're gonna read it off again. Masculinity.
Okay, well, so hold on. Hey, if
All
I
right.
can remember real quickly, masculinity is the traits that are normally exhibited by a man.
I'm about to
Toxic
read it off.
masculinity are the stereotype traits that project men a negative impact that you further teach the world. Or
Pretty much.
yeah. So I mean, like if toxic masculinity would be if I lose, I got to be a sore loser, and I have to destroy you and everything that you own and take away everything. That'd be toxic.
But is that a display? Like, I don't get how they put the toxic on it. Like, is that really a display of masculinity? Someone who's a sore loser, is that masculine?
A sore loser? How is that masculine?
Why is that associated? Well, you just said someone who doesn't get their way or something and they display a certain type of behavior. Why is that associated with masculinity? I don't think that has anything to do with it.
I think I know. How long has women's sports been around?
How long has women's sports been around?
Yeah.
Okay, I think this is the definition you were talking about. Toxic masculinity is thus defined by adherence to traditional male gender roles that consequently stigmatize and limit the emotions boys and men may comfortably express while elevating other emotions such as anger.
Now they mentioned gender roles in there. Now, when you talk to man, I wish we had a caller from the LGBTQ community
If
to
you,
come in here and weigh in on what we're talking about here,
that would be
because
great.
I'm not, you know, I'm not
Yeah,
too
it's got to be fucked up for them, man. I mean, like,
because when they say gender roles, basically what they're saying in the definition is that men and women can express that type of
That type of,
masculinity.
right.
That's what they're
saying.
based on the definition.
Right.
Now
I can tell you.
I want to hear, do
Man,
people agree or disagree
No,
with
wait,
that?
wait. No, I can tell you. I personally agree with that because I see my sister. My sister is gay. My sister is married to another woman, and my sister is the more masculine of the two, right? I just believe that's because of how she, she was raised with my brothers and I. She was like the only girl, and just kind of,
she
my
didn't get
dad.
princess.
I think she kind of did get princess, but didn't like it. She was more.
So she tended to follow the boys.
Yeah, you know what I mean. And by the time middle school, basketball in middle school, it was over for her. As far as
I'm curious about that. Like you said, she followed the boys. So do you think
that's what that's my opinion.
Okay, all right. In your opinion, does the environment have an influence on the
sexuality
or gender roles?
Absolutely.
Later on.
Absolutely, I feel so.
Or hold on. Or
I don't think so.
Or are you born that way?
No, you're absolutely not born anyway.
I think you're born certain ways, dude.
You're born as a man or a woman, or a boy or a girl.
We're not talking about what gender you are, but I'm talking about your sexuality, your preference.
No. How are you born with sexual man? Hey, how can you be possibly born with any kind of sexual preference? You don't. That's something that's learned, John.
I don't know, man. I'm just fucking playing devil's advocate. All I know is I ain't never look at. Well, okay, so not hating on any gay dudes or gay women out there. If you look at, obviously, I take that back. Not to offend any gay people out there.
It's too late. We shut down already. But keep going.
When I was a wee lad and all that stuff, and I saw females, I thought they were very pretty, and I was always like, oh man, she's cute. And then as I got older, I'm like, oh man, I'm having physical reactions by looking at women. Never did it go the other way. You know what I'm saying? Never was I like, oh hey man, see Kyle over there? Something about his hair. Yeah, like it never worked that way. But I would be interested on talking to somebody that is gay and figure out like when did they know? Because you say they're not born that way, and I say that possibly it could be, but that's just because I'm not educated enough to base an educated opinion upon it. So I'm completely ignorant towards that. I have my own little thoughts with no merit behind it.
I think we all are.
I would love to talk to some of the gay community and really ask them, like, when did you know?
We need to do a show about that. We need to do a show about that.
Possibly get someone on from
absolutely from the community.
Let them say their piece. We could get kind of understanding. Because my thing is like the reason why I asked, does environment have an influence on the decisions that we make later on in life, is because I kind of tend to think in that way. But I also, as I get older, I'm starting to kind of understand the other side of that coin, where you being born a certain way. Because when you understand reproduction, and you understand what you consume on a daily basis and what that does to your hormone balance or imbalance, and then you procreate at that certain time, and that child be born. Do you get what I'm saying? Like if you're consuming a certain let's say you have a certain lifestyle, you're consuming certain foods, your hormone imbalance or your hormone balance tends to go off a little bit. Does that when you procreate at that moment, does that affect the child?
So it has to.
I missed the part of that.
So if it does, then you can say that they are born that way.
But only my only thing is.
Hold on, John. Let me explain that for John. So what I said was, when you consume certain things or your environment, because consumption is not just food,
right?
We consume when we consume certain things, and it does have an influence on our bodies internally. When you procreate, let's say you consume a certain food and it sets your hormones out of balance.
Yeah, are you talking about soy?
It could be soy. Okay, let's go with soy. So for years you consume that, your estrogen levels are boosted, and then you decide to procreate. Is the child affected by that? Dre said yes, and then I said to Dre, so that does mean you can be born a certain way.
But it can also change you from, I guess, possibly at a moment, because with your estrogen levels elevated and your testosterone levels dropping, to me it would only make sense that you might start feeling feelings that you never felt before. And
but here's my thing.
The solution to that is you got to go and get a drink so you can't feel feelings anymore.
But here's my thing, though. Regardless of your feelings or anything else, I've been around enough children and raised enough children and have enough children to know without question that they all are born without a sexual preference. Sexuality is something they learn. Sexuality is something children learn about as they grow. Children aren't born knowing anything about, feeling anything about any kind of sexuality. They don't.
Okay, yeah, okay. But what about the traits? I mean, can you learn a lot about fucking gender traits by looking at children? Because I mean, I'm only saying this because I got 4 kids. Everybody out there, I got 3 sons and 1 daughter. All 3 sons will destroy everything in their path, but my daughter carries around her Miss Piggy doll like it's her forever.
Listen. I have 3 sons, and same thing. I can tell you from experience, boys are stupid. Boys just don't have sense.
Not yet.
And they just don't have sense. You know what I mean? Like when you get to turn into a man, you might start to learn and start to gain some sense. But
that ain't until you're like fucking 26, 28, man. Right. When your frontal lobe.
Right.
Yeah, you gotta leave them 20s before the sense start to kick in.
Exactly.
Guys, if you're out there, don't since you're 28.
All right, listen, guys, we're gonna have to chop it up about 5 minutes early tonight, because I don't want to do the whole minutes to wrap up. So, do you guys want to do this final thought? And before we do this final thought, we have a comment from a lot of comments in here. I'm not gonna read everything because the people are going back and forth with each other a lot in here about our topic.
Is that on the YouTube or the Facebook?
That's on the YouTube, so we can go back and check it all later. Shout out to everybody. Huh? Urban Country.
What is this?
The YouTube is urbancountryfilms.com. I mean, it's Urban Country Films on YouTube. Urban Country Films everywhere. Let's Talk Freedom is the name of the show. You can just find us at Urban Country Films, and we're easy to find. But Devar, we do have a comment from CGG S1981 says, Devar, Javier from Panama will be happy to debate you on behalf of the LGBT community.
But is it a debate or is it a conversation?
Debate? See, that's what I'm talking about.
No, he said on that point.
But it's not a debate. It's a conversation because we've already admitted that we're ignorant. We're
No.
uneducated.
Actually, what he says is you have very good points on that.
Oh, okay.
No. He has very good points on that. Sorry, he has very good points on that.
I would love to know.
I'd love to hear. Where are these points?
And it's really not a debate, like you guys saying. Really not a debate.
Look, we're not trying to debate anyone. I'm not trying to say
just
that
wanna learn.
I have all the answers or we're doing this. Hey, we're just vibing. We're just having a conversation. So, Javi,
come with it.
Go ahead and bring it.
Listen. You guys want to you guys want to final thoughts? Anyone? We got 2 minutes and about 40 seconds to wrap up.
Yeah, if you don't mind, I like to go first and just tell everybody, be nice to each other. Don't be a dick. And also have a very pleasant and safe family friends festival. That's what I'm calling it. It's no longer Thanksgiving. Fuck Christopher Columbus. And just be safe.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we're gonna need another show to really dive into this topic and possibly get get some people from different communities to weigh in. But as far as my final thoughts are on the situation, I do think masculinity in general is not what is being portrayed. What's being portrayed is almost like a bastardized version of masculinity, and they're trying to put that on every male out there to say that we display that type of behavior, and that's just, I don't personally believe that's the case. Masculinity is a good thing, and when you display masculinity in its purest form and you bring that to a relationship, you can do great things with the right partner.
I agree with you 100%. And with that, what I want to leave you guys with is that unfortunately next Thursday we will not be with you. Do want you to enjoy your families. That's one of the special times a year for me. It really has nothing to do with the holiday. It's just really about the family. So enjoy your family. Spend some time, and we will be back with you the following Thursday. Yeah, and thank you guys for all the participation. Thank you for it seems like people are really enjoying what we're doing here. A couple of people in the comments said thank you for doing what we're doing. So recognition goes a long way. We really appreciate, really appreciate that. One thing that it really feels good when you're doing something and you see people take interest in what you're doing. So it really feels good, and thank you for joining us. And like I always say, you might have never heard it from me before, but if you are a subscriber to the channel, wherever you're subscribed from, I am your #1 fan. And with that, good night.